Okay, welcome everyone. Um, my name is Alessandro from OsteoStrong, and thank you for joining us for our Mindful March. I see 9 people in the webinar today. We have many more registrants, so I expect that others will trickle in as we go. But maybe just so that I know that everyone's here, do you want to drop your name in the chat, or you could use the react at the bottom and give me a thumbs up or a little heart or an applause or whatever, so that we know that, oh, there's Elaine. Hello,
Love
welcome. I see the thumbs up. Fantastic. So it means that everything is working as we intended, so that's great to know. So again, my name is Alessandro. I am one of the owners at OsteoStrong. I focus primarily on business development marketing, so you probably don't get a lot of FaceTime with me, not nearly as much as you get with Kira or with Jason, the other owner. But it's my pleasure to be here today. This year, we are trying to have a special theme or a special activity that we talk about every month. And we are now in the month of March, obviously, and this March we're focusing on mindfulness. It's easy to lose sight of the important connection between bone health and stress level, or stress management is a key one of the so-called key pillars of bone health. And of course, that comes with mindfulness, presence, and being able to manage our stress, manage our cortisol. And so we are very lucky that one of our coaches, Kira, in addition to being an excellent OsteoStrong coach, also has a background in mindfulness and breath work. And so today, the focus on the of the webinar that we'll have about an hour together. We'll spend the first 30 minutes going through some slides that reinforce and anchor these concepts. And then we will focus on the last part of the webinar, going through a breathwork exercise, which is one of Kira's areas of expertise. So really excited to get started. Thank you, Kira. I will go on mute and I'll turn my camera off so that the focus on her, the star of the webinar here. I also want to let you know that we are recording this webinar, and so you will get the recording in the coming days, so that you will also have access to the slides. If there's something that you want to review later, you don't have to focus on taking notes or anything today. You can just be present and mindful. And with that, here is Kira. Take care.
Thank you, Ollie. Hi, I'm Kira. I'm going to be hosting this webinar today, and unfortunately, my computer is running a little slowly, so I'm not able to do the slideshow presentation. So I'm just going to kind of go through the slides as they are on here. But welcome to March, my favorite month. Since, there's usually March Madness going on, it's kind of a chaotic time for a lot of people. I decided, okay, we should do March mindfulness, get everyone connected back to themselves, get some grounding in so that we can continue building bones in a more calm, strong, and centered way of doing things. So, welcome everyone. Feel free to put in the chat if you have any questions at any point. There will be a Q&A portion at the end to get into. But as for me, for those of you who don't know me or haven't worked with me very often, I was initially certified through the Life Coach School back in 2021, which really focuses on emotional, mental work and kind of processing things in that aspect. And then in 2022, I went and got my 200-hour yoga teacher training. So I also teach yoga pretty regularly. And that's where a lot of my mindfulness foundation really blossomed. And then I also in 2023 became certified as a breathwork coach through Breath Masters. And that was probably the most life-changing certification that I went through, because that's when I really started to understand exactly how to help regulate my nervous system and kind of tackle things in a holistic sense rather than just doing the thought work and the emotional work and then just doing like the physical and that spiritual connection with the yoga. The breath work really brought everything together. And then in 2024, I moved to Arizona and became a coach at OsteoStrong. So super excited to be here. I've been here almost 2 years now, and I really love working with all of you and seeing your wonderful faces regularly. So thank you for attending this webinar today and getting some of your mindfulness questions answered. So on the agenda for today, we are really going to focus on that bone health connection, why mindfulness is so important for, osteoporosis, osteopenia, but overall just building up a stronger foundation within your skeleton, within your muscles. Everything is connected here. So we're also going to talk about the power of omegas, which we do have two different types of omegas that we sell in-house, which are really high quality. So I'll give a little highlight about each of those as well. Um, and then we're also going to go over some breath awareness and do some conscious breathing exercises. This is just going to be basically your intro to meditation, especially if some of you haven't ever tried meditation before. This is going to be a really great place to start. Super beginner friendly, but for people who are very experienced, it's also going to be a great place to start as well. And then we're going to get into a little bit of tools to help you figure out how to process emotions, and actually let them be released so they're not keeping chronic stress and inflammation in your body. And then we're going to round it all off with a nice grounding meditation combined with a little bit of that conscious breathing. And this is just going to have you feeling really relaxed and refreshed and starting off this new springtime with a little bit more clarity, a little bit more peace of mind, and hopefully some more direction about where you'd like to take things with OsteoStrong. And then at the end, I'll save a little bit of time for some Q&A. If we'll be finished right at 4:30. I'll give it exactly an hour. But if for some reason you have more questions, I'm happy to stay late and answer more questions if there's a lot in the Q&A. So just know that you can leave at 4:30 or you can stay a little later and keep asking me questions. All right. So to get into it, we're going to start with the stress response and why this is such an important factor for understanding what's going on inside of your body. A lot of you may already know, but there are two kind of different stresses that you experience. There's acute and chronic. And acute stress is when something happens, pretty quickly and you have that reaction, either taking you into fight or flight or essentially giving your body what it needs to take care of itself in a dangerous situation. Chronic stress is where you experience those elevated levels for long periods of time, and you are never able to really get back down to a healthy baseline. And so many people in our society in this day and age are experiencing chronic stress and just not knowing how to process it, not knowing how to get back down to that regulated level. And so that's really what we're going to go over a couple of things today to help you modulate that at will. And the reason why this chronic stress is so detrimental to your body, there's multiple reasons. But first, that chronic psychological stress really activates that hypothalamic pituitary adrenal gland axis. And that's going to stimulate the sympathetic side of the nervous system, which is that fight or flight response that elevates your cortisol levels, the stress hormone, which ultimately stops the body from absorbing calcium correctly, especially in the gut. And over time, this is going to suppress your osteoblast activity, which are those cells that we're stimulating when you go through a session. to really help build up stronger bone from the inside out. Those are the cells that are laying down that foundation that will eventually lead to a more substantial bone. Um, that sympathetic nervous system activation also releases neuroepinephrine and neuropeptide Y, which also accelerate osteoclast activity and not in a good way. So those osteoclasts are the cells that are going to eat away that old brittle bone. But in this case, when you're in that chronic stress, it's going to cause those osteoclasts to start eating away healthy bone. And that's really going to lead to the depletion of your bone mineral density, especially over time. Um, Not to mention, there's the major inflammatory response that's also happening in the body when you're in that chronic state of stress. There's like free radicals, cytokines, and this is just going to overall, anytime you're creating inflammation, you're sending cells to that area and it's depleting your other resources, and your body is kind of fighting to heal and repair. And so it's not able to build a strong foundation from there. And things that are indirectly affecting that bone mineral density in a negative aspect are things like your sleep and your physical exercise and what foods you choose to eat. Because typically, when you're in that chronic stress response, you're not going to be getting good sleep, your quality, or likely even time. A lot of times we wake up and we can't go back to sleep. Physical activity, you're not going to have the energy to be doing the things that keep you feeling active and mobile. And then also with the dietary patterns, a lot of times people tend to stress eat or not eat enough or healthy nutritionist food when they are in that stress state. It's typically when we reach for things that have higher levels of sugar um, and carbs, which, can add to different aspects of as well with inflammation in the body. So that's why it's super important to just be aware of how stress is affecting your body and how we can not necessarily combat it, because stress is always going to be a presence, but how to be aware of it, how to use it to our advantage, and how to let it go so that we can get back to that peaceful baseline and not stay in that chronic response state. So one of the things that we can do to really help reduce inflammation in the body is taking really good quality omegas. The ones that we sell at OsteoStrong are going to be the AlgaeCal Triple Power Liquid Omegas. And these are kind of a mango flavored. They actually taste pretty good. I've just recently started taking them and I've noticed a huge difference in my skin, number one, which I was curious about because for some of you who've known me for a while, I had acne, and my skin has really cleared up. And I think that part of it is just overall reducing inflammation, partially from taking those omegas. And then we also have the Calton Nutrition AM and PM omegas, which come in more of like a gel, little like capsule form. And those are also really high quality. Here on the screen, I basically just copy and pasted some information from the AlgaeCal website specifically on the triple power omegas because I wanted you to have the best information you could about it. But essentially, the antioxidants that we get from taking those high quality omega-3 fish oils really help to reduce the free radicals in the body, which are part of the things that contribute to that inflammation. It also has really high, good quality doses of the curcumin, which is like a leading ingredient in turmeric, which is why it really helps a lot of things as well. And then I can never say this one, astaxanthin. And that's also been shown to help the bone metastases, reducing inflammation as well. And overall, just helping to protect from losing more bone. So kind of keeping you at that baseline as well. And then it also has the DHA and the EPA omega 3s, which are the high quality ones. And a lot of times in our current diets, we have a higher percentage of omega 6s, which are the ones that aren't so good for your health. And we really need to be balancing that out with the good quality omega 3s. And it's not just some like random fish oil that you buy at Costco, that's not going to actually be high quality ingredients. So these ones are really, really solid and they're pretty shelf stable, although you do have to refrigerate the triple powers after you open them as well. But you can just take a little spoonful and they're pretty good. But we'll likely be having some samples available in center. Um, in the next like week or so. So if you want to try some of those out for the liquid ones, just ask one of your coaches, hey, could I please have a little sample? I'm thinking about getting some of this, and we would be happy to share that with you. Oops. And then, all right, so on to the fun stuff. Now that we've talked about some supplementation, here is your um, introduction to breath awareness. So, your breath is something that's always available to you. It doesn't cost money, it just takes attention and a little bit of effort. But as soon as you start doing it, you're going to feel the benefit, you're going to feel the difference instantaneously. So, with breath awareness, why this is important is because a lot of times, as soon as people start to think about their breath, they immediately want to go to consciously breathing in and out and slowing it down or speeding it up. And one of the best things that we can do to meditate is simply shift our focus from our thoughts, from our mind, from what's going on outside of us to simply observing the breath, not trying to change anything about it, just noticing where you feel it in your body, noticing how deep your breath is. Sometimes we have a tendency to breathe very shallow into the upper chest. So just being able to notice, okay, am I breathing into my chest? Am I breathing lower? Am I using my diaphragm to pull the air in? And just becoming aware of these different aspects is going to be a game changer over time. Partially because this works to um, calm the mind by getting out of the thinking mind and stepping into the observer mind, where you actually have the space to see and witness, but also to make more informed decisions and to let things come to you because your brain is always working in the background to solve problems. And so when you shift that focus onto your breath, you have more space in order to do these things at the highest level. It's developing your interoception, which is that sense of what's going on inside of your body. So often, when I'm asking people, hey, how's your body feeling today? What's going on? I get, fine, okay. And I'm always excited when people say something specific like, oh, like I feel this thing here. And, it doesn't necessarily have to be pain, but just having that awareness of, okay, this is what's going on inside of my body today. I feel like there's a little bit of tightness here. I feel like this has a little bit of um, weirdness to it. Just being able to develop a language around what you're actually experiencing on a physical level in terms of different sensations. So just starting to tune in and letting go of what's going on outside of you. So often we're caught up in, I have to do this thing, I have to go to this place. What is that person thinking? And when we just draw into the breath, it calms everything down. So that's really that first step. And I want you all to practice just a few minutes of this. I'm going to set a timer for 1 minute. And I want everyone to just wherever you're sitting, close your eyes if you feel like you're in a safe environment where you can do that. Otherwise, you can just keep a nice soft focus forward. Once you have your eyes closed, Just start to notice that breath. Like I said, you don't have to change anything. Notice how fast you're breathing. Maybe count it out without slowing it down or speeding it up. This is a non-judgmental observation. Are you breathing through your nose? Are you breathing through your mouth? Are your breaths in and out equal in length, or is one shorter than the other? Do you notice any tightness anywhere when you try to breathe? And you can go ahead and open your eyes. That was a full minute. And I just want to see if you guys can drop some stuff into the chat for me and just kind of tell me what you noticed. It doesn't have to be a paragraph. It can just be a couple words like short, shallow breaths, felt tight. Ali says he's more relaxed. Even just noticing his breath, he's already feeling it. Anyone else notice anything? There's 15 of you in here. Is the chat working for everyone? Can you raise your hand if it's not working? Um, okay. I'm hoping it works. I know I see 15 of you in here, so I should get at least one or two more. All right, if you did try something in the chat, there we go. Hey, Jenny, you feel relaxed, more relaxing. Okay. Anyone else? Just a couple more. If you can. If you don't have access to the chat, that's okay too. Faith, see, even just changing that focus took Faith from a more shallow breath already to a deeper breath. Barbara says her breath slowed by just observing, more relaxed. You notice your nose is stuffed up, April. Yeah, a lot of you are saying that your breath started out faster, and then as soon as you observed it, it automatically slowed itself down. Barbara feeling more grounded. Raquel becoming more relaxed. Awesome. See, it's pretty unanimous so far. Just that breath awareness, that shift that you notice. Okay, maybe you're more relaxed, but you figured out, hey, my nose is feeling kind of stuffy. Um, but thank you for sharing these responses in the chat. And yeah, it definitely already is helping because a slower breath rate actually is a huge indicator of overall longevity. And typically, the average American is breathing way too fast, which leads to all kinds of heart problems and other kinds of problems as well. So even just becoming more aware of your breath on a more regular basis, even if it's, a minute or two, a couple times a day, maybe once a day for 5 minutes, just starting to train this skill is already going to have an impact on how you feel, which is pretty much why we do everything we do, is because we want to feel good. We want to be healthy. We want to live happy, long lives. All right. Oops. So now that we have a little bit of that awareness of what's happening inside of our body, the next aspect is emotional processing. So a lot of times as emotional human beings, we get caught up in our feelings about things, which stem from thinking. So if we have a thought in our brain that's telling us something, we're going to be feeling the physical effects of that thought through our emotions. And emotions are essentially just physical vibrations, electrical sensations that travel through the fascia, and they can get trapped there if we are not able to process and release them in a healthy manner. A lot of times we tend to suppress or repress them, and then they get trapped and cause chronic discomfort, chronic pain, chronic inflammation in the body, and a lack of mobility as well. So sometimes when we're doing these processes, like compressing different points along the fascia, you may notice emotions, sensations coming up. But essentially, an emotion only lasts about 90 seconds. So if you're driving down the highway and somebody cuts you off and you experience road rage, that rage really only lasts about 90 seconds. And then anything after that is your mind continually looping that thought that's going to keep recreating that vibration in your body. And so when you can learn how to observe, oh, I'm feeling this thing, or oh, I'm thinking this thing, which is making me feel this thing, that's when you're going to start to have a lot more control over how you respond to stressful situations. And so the first aspect of that really is tuning into your body. The best way to do that, start with the breath awareness, start just noticing. Um, and then notice how you're feeling emotionally right now. Do you feel calm and relaxed? Do you feel a little bit anxious? Maybe like you have stuff to do, or you just feel happy, or maybe you're frustrated. Whatever it is, just noticing how you feel emotionally and being able to name that. This is a really helpful exercise to do, is just simply naming the feeling of how you feel and being able to articulate that. And then once you have kind of an idea of what it is you're experiencing, okay, maybe it's frustration, maybe it's irritation, maybe it's giddiness, maybe it's joy, whatever it is, how are you actually experiencing that physically in your body? I know that for me, when I start to feel like embarrassed or nervous, I get like tight in my chest and my throat, and my face gets hot and my fingers get a little tingly. So that's what I mean by how does it present itself sensationally. So take a moment. If you want to close your eyes again, you can close your eyes, but just take a moment to ask yourself, okay, how am I feeling today? What am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? How does it feel as a sensation? And just take a couple moments, maybe take a couple breaths to notice those answers. Again, no judgment, not trying to change it, just simply becoming aware of what it is. And if anyone would like to type in the chat, maybe how they're feeling and how they're feeling it physically, um, that would be awesome. I'll start. I'm feeling excited because I love teaching and sharing knowledge, especially with all of you in the chat. And I've been looking forward to doing this webinar for a while, and my heart is beating a little bit faster than normal, although overall I feel pretty relaxed. I do feel like a little bit of like pinching in my back because it's this state of like, okay, I'm ready to go. Elaine says, fearful of aging and the future. Okay, Elaine, so how does that fear actually physically feel in your body? Like when you really sit with it and try it on, and you think about what you're afraid of in the future and what aging looks like to you, where does your body experience that? How do those sensations manifest themselves? Mention in my head. Do you mean tension? Like, or more like thoughts in your head? Also, anyone else? Tension. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. So noticing tension in the head. This is hard. That's right, Francis. You can do hard things, though. I believe in you. And the more that you're willing to open up to this space and the more that you're willing to try something new and uncomfortable, the better off you will be. And maybe that's what you're feeling. You're feeling challenged right now. And that might be, what does that feel like? Raquel says she feels motivated to implement new thoughts about herself and taking bold action. I love it, Raquel. Yes, that definitely is in alignment with the spring energy. Um, awesome. How does that feel in your body? Faith, I'm feeling a little disappointed because I have to go. You're awesome, Kira. Oh, thank you. Eager to watch the whole recording. Thanks. Thank you for showing up, even part-time, Faith. And yes, you can always see the recording, but I'll probably see you soon at your next appointment. April is holding tension in her shoulders. I can relate to that. Okay. Nice job, everyone. Thank you for sharing. Keep thinking about these things on your own. If you want to drop something into the chat that you think of at any time, you're more than welcome to do so. Um, it's a really welcoming community here, and it's a safe space. But yeah, we're all in this experience together and learning how to understand our bodies and our emotions and our thoughts, and also using our breath as a remote control for the nervous system. So we're getting into our next aspect, which is conscious breathing. So some of you already noticed that as soon as you became aware of your breath, it automatically slowed down. It automatically shifted your energy into being more calm and more present. And so now you can start to develop that skill and take it a step further and actively control your nervous system. So I love those of you who have attended my breath workshops. I love saying that breath work is a remote control for your nervous system because how you breathe will immediately affect how your nervous system responds to it. So I created a couple of different options here, or I shouldn't say created, but I decided to take you through a few different conscious breathing options that are going to be the best for heart and brain coherence, which is that most grounding, most beneficial breath that you can do for your overall heart rate variability, which is another key factor of longevity as well. But essentially, I have box breathing and coherence breathing. Box breathing is a technique that the Navy SEALs use. So many different people use this, yoga instructors. But essentially, you're just inhaling for 4 seconds, holding at the top for 4 seconds, exhaling for 4 seconds, and holding at the bottom for 4 seconds. So it looks like a 4 second box as you breathe. And what this does is it helps to balance out the nervous system and kind of regulate you to where you are in homeostasis. You're not in an active sympathetic nervous system. You're not in a parasympathetic side of the nervous system. You're just kind of balanced. And in polyvagal theory, it's kind of like that social ventral vagal state where you're feeling really connected, You're able to be around people. It's kind of this safe, relaxed state that your nervous system should be in most of the time, except in acute stress response situations. Unfortunately, most people are not there. I was not there for a very long time, and there are still times where I really struggle to bring myself back to that place. But that's why breath work is a tool that we can always practice. We can always reach for it when we need it. And then we also have that 5-5 coherence breathing. So this is equal in, equal out, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. And this breath rate actually is the ultimate breath rate for your heart and your brain coherence, which really balances your body out the most and allows you to really be kind of at this inner state of peace and power. So we're going to do a minute of each of those techniques just so you can kind of get a feel for it. And then at the end of that, we'll get into our final grounding meditation where I will be guiding your breath as well. But I just want you guys to get to practice each of these. So again, feel free to close your eyes. I'm just going to set a timer and we'll all start together. So here, I want everyone to take a nice deep breath in and let it go. And breathing in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the bottom. 4, 3, 2, 1. In, and we'll keep going like this. Hold. Out. Hold. In. Hold. Out. Hold. In. One more. Hold. Out. Hold. You can resume your breath as normal here and just notice how you're feeling. What has shifted for you? Maybe if you want to drop something in the chat for me. Anyone's noticing any differences? More peace, more calm. Thank you, Ale. Calmer, Raquel. Jewel says, driving to Arcadia was very stressful. I could feel my body not wanting to do the equipment, so I opted for modalities. But while using the PEMF mat, I started working on my breathing, calmed my body down, asked to do the equipment, and it worked. Awesome, Jewel. I love that you're listening to your body and you're not pushing yourself into something that doesn't feel right. But also, after taking a few minutes to do PEMF and calm your breathing, it actually made it so that you could do the machines. That's amazing to hear. I'm really glad that you have that tool. Jewel is one of the people that went to my breath workshop, so she's already learned a couple of these exercises, and I'm really happy to see that she's been practicing and it's been helping. So thank you for sharing that, Jewel. Frances is feeling calmer. April says she needs some practice, that this feels really good. Yes, I'm glad to hear that. Jenny says, breathing a bit better, feeling more calm. Elaine, calm, letting go of thoughts. Awesome, amazing. Barbara says, keeping me in the present moment. Emma says, her body wants to take deeper breaths now. Oh, so good. Well, you ask and you shall receive, Emma, because we're getting into the 5-5 coherence breath for the next minute, which is just going to be a nice full inhale for 5 seconds, a nice full exhale for 5 seconds. And this time, if you have been breathing either through the mouth, this time I just want you to try breathing in through the nose. You can breathe out through the nose or out through the mouth. Um, Out through the nose if you want a little bit more relaxation, but I just really want you to try to breathe in through the nose. And if your nose is clogged, like I think it was April, and maybe anyone else, just try to give yourself little massages, maybe kind of apply some gentle pressure separating. That way you can get some air up in there. All right. Try to pull that breath down into the belly as well. That's going to help you feel even better. So again, I'm going to have us all take a big breath together and let it go. And starting now, go ahead and breathe in for 5 and let it go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Out. 5. Good. Keep going. I'll let you know when. Breathe in and out. In, out. In, out. Then we've got one more. Breathe in and out. And time. Go ahead and continue your normal breath rates. You can keep doing those 5 5s if it feels good. But yeah, if anyone wants to drop a message in how they're feeling, what they noticed, we'll take just 1 minute to look at that chat, and then we'll get into our grounding meditation to finish us off. But I'm curious to see how the 5 5 feels versus the box breathing, if you notice any differences, if one felt easier or more challenging than the other. Okay, Barbara said, even though it was a nice slow pace, it felt a little forced. Noted. Sometimes it can be challenging. I personally am a very slow breather after years and years of practice. And to me, a 5 5 even feels fast paced. I like to breathe in for like 10 seconds and out for 10 seconds, but that'll put you to sleep in like 5 seconds if you try to do that. So, um, I hear you, Barbara. Just do the one that feels best for you. If the box breathing felt a little better, try that. Maybe just try slowing your breath rate and seeing how long you can breathe in and out. And Raquel likes the 5 5 better. Elaine likes the 5 5. It's a little easier. Okay. Nice feedback, everyone. Thank you. The 5 5 is typically easier for people because it's just simple in and out and there's no breath holds. But there are also benefits to holding your breath both at the top and bottom. Typically, longer holds actually really stimulate different responses in the body as well, but we're not quite going to get into that today. Challenging, but challenging for 5 in, but easier to breathe out. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So maybe it's working on expanding that lung capacity so that you can really breathe in for the full 5 seconds. Sometimes people also are more challenged exhaling for a longer period because they're not limiting the amount of air that's released at a time. So that's also something to keep in mind. But we've officially made it to our final resting place, our little webinar Shavasana, a grounding meditation. So I want you all to get into a nice, comfortable position, no matter where you are. This meditation is going to be about 10 minutes, and then we'll have a few minutes at the end for Q&A. But I really want everyone to find a nice, comfortable seat. Maybe you're sitting on the floor, maybe you're in a nice, comfy chair. Maybe you're reclining on your bed or a couch or on the floor. Wherever you're sitting, go ahead and close your eyes once again. With your eyes closed, I just want you to set an intention of something you would like to release, something you would like to let go of, and then maybe something you would like to call in or step into. So just taking a moment to become really clear about what it is you're letting go of and what it is you're calling in. And if you just want to do one or the other, that's perfectly okay too. This is your space, your intention, and you do what feels right for you. So once you have that clear intention in your mind's eye, bring your awareness down to the points of contact. Start to notice the weight pressing down through your sits bones, maybe your feet on the floor, your hands in your lap, your back pressing against the seat. Anywhere you experience contact with the surface beneath you, start to notice how it feels. Recognize that pressure. And then drawing your awareness to the very top of your head, start to scan down through the body. Scanning down through the face, start to smooth out the forehead, releasing the brow, softening through the cheeks, unclenching the jaw, starting to open the throat, maybe even taking a couple shoulder rolls, relaxing them down and back. And continue scanning down through the chest. As you scan, just notice how it feels. As you soften each muscle you pass, the biceps, the triceps, all the way down through the forearms and the hands, becoming aware of your fingers, softening, getting heavy. And then noticing your core, your abdomen, your heart, your back. If you experience any tension or discomfort, not trying to change it, not trying to escape it or judge it, just notice it, allow it, accept it, and continue scanning and relaxing. Scanning down through the hips, the seat, the thighs, the knees, all the way down through the calves, the feet, and out through the toes. Just softening, getting heavy as you start to slow down your breath rate. Drawing in through the nose, down into the belly, filling the belly, allowing that breath to travel up the spine, opening the ribs, and lastly, expanding out through the chest. And then exhaling, release the chest. Breath travels back down the spine and empties the belly last. Keep noticing these full, deep breaths. In for 5, out for 5. Or maybe even doing that box breathing if it feels good. Counting in for 4, holding, out for 4, holding. tuning in to that awareness, noticing if thoughts pop into your head, just allow and let them go. Notice, okay, thought, and return your attention back to your breath, back to the sensations in your body. Take a moment to recall your intention as you continue to slow the breath. Breathing a little deeper with the inhale as you draw that intention in. Extending a little longer on the exhale as you release what you want to let go of. Each breath in, creating space through the vertebrae, opening up through the ribs, feeling that chest expanding. Each exhale, just releasing a little bit more tension, getting a little softer, a little heavier, a little calmer. And then bringing your awareness back to those points of contact. Feeling the support of the surface beneath you. Start to visualize roots extending out from your body down into the earth. Even if you're on a higher surface, those roots are reaching down, connecting you to our shared mother. As you breathe in, breathing in warmth and sunlight into those dark spaces. And as you exhale, just feel the drain of stress leaving the body, pouring down back into the earth, releasing that energy, allowing it to be used to create something new. Letting go of holding on to it. It no longer belongs to you. And with each breath in, calling in more light, more space, more warmth. And with each exhale, allowing it to be released. Allowing those roots to nurture and support you as they are your outlets. And taking one more little body scan here, just noticing, again, starting at the top of the head, scanning down kind of quickly, just noticing if you experience any differences since the beginning, if your body feels a little softer, a little lighter. Maybe something feels worse and you're more aware of tension than you were before. So go ahead and open your eyes when you're ready. Start to bring yourself back, maybe wiggle your fingers. And then if anyone wants to drop some words for me in the chat about how that experience went for you, I would be honored. I'm not seeing anything so far. I'll give it another minute or so. Elaine says, very relaxing and centering. Francis helped reduce my hand pain. Amazing. I love to hear that. So just by doing things like this, what we've done today in this webinar, um, let's see. The 5-5 breathing was natural and easy during meditation, and your guidance was beautiful. Oh, thank you, Barbara. I appreciate you. Raquel, I loved it. As I became more relaxed, my imagination took me to a great place. Very interesting. I love to see that, Raquel. There are all kinds of different meditations you can do. There's body awareness, there's visualization practices. Um, so I love to see that. Jewel, my head got heavier and wanted to nod off. Exactly. It can be a really useful tool for helping you fall asleep as well. Um, April says that felt amazing. Went to another place for a few minutes. And Jenny says felt very relaxed. Totally enjoyed that. See, all good things. You always have access to this. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, this was within you. What you created in your body. Sure, I was there guiding you, um, telling your brain where to go, what to think, but you were the one practicing the meditation, and you don't need someone to guide you. And if you want someone to guide you, there are plenty of people out there like myself. You can find guides on YouTube, you can find all kinds of different resources out there, but just finding the time and space to sit with yourself, breathe, notice from a non-judgmental place, that's what's going to make the difference for you. So anytime you're feeling stressed or anxious, I want you to remember this 10 minutes that we spent grounding and, give yourself that gift when you need it most. Elaine, your session today was very relaxing. You are a natural teacher. Thank you. I have been teaching for a few years now, so I've definitely gotten better, but I appreciate it. And we have just one more minute. So I want to thank you all so much for coming and being willing to try this out, being willing to, do something new or maybe something that you've done a lot of. But I appreciate all of you for taking time out of your Saturday to show up with me for an hour and get some cool information about your bone health. Um, and does anyone have any questions? I'm happy to stay as long as it takes. I don't have any plans this evening, so I'm here for you all. Thank you, Raquel. Thank you, Ale. I appreciate you for being here and, you know, um, being a part of this experience with me. Thank you, Francis. I'm glad you enjoyed the session and got your refresher. Thank you, Jenny. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh, so much love. If anyone has any questions, speak now or forever hold your peace. April says, thank you for your time and guidance. Thank you, April, for showing up. Maybe share this with Terry. All right. Does anyone have any questions? I'll give it another couple minutes. Thank you, Susan. Ollie, do you have any last words? Do you want to pop back on here?
So here I am. No, nothing. I truly enjoyed the session. Um, it's not my first time watching you teach a class or a session like this, but yeah, you're definitely a natural teacher. Very clear, very calm, very engaging. So thank you again.
I appreciate that. And it does look like we actually have a couple of questions.
Oh,
So,
perfect.
Jewel says yes, one question. Okay, Jewel, what's your question? Francis says, when are you doing this again? So each month we're going to be actually doing kind of a different focus for each webinar. So March just happened to be mindfulness. But each month we're kind of focusing on something different. So look out for the emails, stay updated. For anyone that purchased the Black Friday special, they get two workshops from last year. So if you did have that package, you could always do a breathwork session with me. Um, so that's an option. And then let's see,
And
crystals.
then and then Kira, as the interest grows for this, we can probably organize that as an additional opportunity for folks to um, go a little bit deeper with these types of activities and buy additional um, workshops from you, much like we offer strength training for members that are interested or nutrition consultations through some of our other staff. This is something we can consider for breath work and meditation.
And thank you for reminding me about that, Ollie, because I completely forgot to put that in the slides. But yes, I am actually offering functional breath work as well as somatic journeys. So if anyone's interested in that, just feel free to like send me a text or an email just through OsteoStrong and just be like, hey, I want to do breath work with Kira. And I will personally reach out to you and we can make that happen. Um,
Mhm.
and then let's see, Crystal says, thank you so much for bringing breath work into bone health. I miss OsteoStrong and this is something I can do. Yes, absolutely. Breath work is going to help your bone health for all the reasons we talked about. And Jewel says, when you do an hour of breathing session, is it all breathing? So the functional breathwork sessions, I can modulate specifically to your needs. So if there's something specific that you're experiencing and you need help with that thing, we can do functional techniques specifically around that and kind of work with you as we go. The somatic breathwork journeys are conscious, connected breathing for a full hour. And those are kind of a different experience, different states of consciousness, different sensations in the body. But typically, I would have you set up a functional breathwork session first as kind of a consultation before we do the somatic journey. Um, and then Jenny says, can we receive an email when you hold the next session? Yes, Jenny, we will be sending out emails for all of our webinars. And we'll also be posting them on the flyers in the centers. Jewel, I haven't been able to sit through meditation. My mind wanders. That's very common. That's why we practice always bringing that awareness back, which is why the breath is such a valuable tool because if we're looking at the breath, we're not in our heads. But it is something that we need to be practicing regularly in order to really see that skill start to develop. But good on you for showing up today. All right. Any other questions? I think that might be
Maybe,
everything.
maybe that's it.
Maybe that's
Well,
it.
thank you so much. Again, we will be sending out the recording of today's webinar for those of you who were here, but also for those of you who perhaps register and were not able to join. Maybe if you are not here, but you know someone who will register and is not here, let them know that, or else they'll just receive the recording. And then looking forward to next month. And when we're gonna focus next month on micronutrients, a very important ingredient for our body. And again, we will talk a little bit about how micronutrients aid in your bone health journey. We have many products that we have hand selected for you to how that are high quality. Again, this month we talked about omegas. Next month it's going to be micronutrients. Algical is a great product line that has in it all of the different micronutrients that are needed. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And until then, you guys have a great night. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you all in the center when I see you.
Bye bye. Thanks, Kira.
Bye.